Put the royal icing sugar in a mixing bowl. Add a splash of water and stir well. Gradually add a little more water at a time, stirring well. Keep gradually adding water until a thick, firm consistency is reached, where the icing holds its shape. This is piping consistency. Put 3/4 of the icing into another bowl and gradually add more water, stirring in well, until flooding consistency is reached, where the mixture will be liquid enough to flow off the spoon in a ribbon and doesn't hold its shape. Cover the icing with cling film. It needs to be touching the surface of the icing to stop it hardening. If decorating the biscuits, colour some of the flooding icing as desired. Use food colour pastes, as they're more concentrated, so have an intense colour and won't change the consistency of the icing. To fill a piping bag, put a small plain nozzle into the bottom of the bag. Then put the bag in a glass to keep it steady. Fold the edges of the bag over like a cuff. Spoon the firm icing into the bag, then take the bag out of the glass. If using a disposable bag, snip the bottom off. Then push the nozzle down to sit snugly in the hole and squeeze the icing down, making sure there are no air pockets and twisting the top of the bag to secure. Hold the biscuit in one hand and squeeze the piping bag, hovering just above the biscuit. Pipe around the edges of the biscuit in a thin line, making sure the line is solid with no broken parts. Fit a second piping bag with the 5mm nozzle for flooding and fill with the runnier flooding icing. Fill another bag with the coloured icing if using, fitted with another 5mm nozzle. When flooding biscuits with icing, it's important to work quickly. Pipe a blob of icing into the centre of the biscuit, then use a cocktail stick to gently drag the icing up to the edges of the piped outline until the icing is in a smooth layer and the biscuit is completely covered. Pipe on a little more icing if needed. Don't worry about completely smoothing the icing. It will settle into an even layer by itself. Leave to harden if you want any further decoration to be raised. If you want the design to be flat, this needs to be done immediately, before the initial flooding begins to set. For polka dots, pipe on individual spots as close to the surface as possible. These will sink into the base flooding to create a smooth surface. If a raised effect is required, wait for the first layer to dry, then pipe on the dots. They'll sit on top of the icing instead, creating a raised finish. Allow the biscuits to harden over a few hours before storing in an airtight container.